The piano stops. Stevie Wonder's fingers freeze above the keys. His head tilts. Listening. Something has changed in the room. Someone is singing. A voice from somewhere in the audience. Soft at first. Almost imperceptible. Then louder. Clearer. A melody that Stevie Wonder has not heard in 41 years. A song that was never released. A song that only two people in the world have ever known. And one of them is supposed to be dead. Oprah sees it before anyone else does. She sees Stevie's face transform. She sees the shock, the disbelief, the recognition. She follows his blind gaze toward the audience. She searches for the source of the voice. And she finds her. Row 8. Seat 12. A woman. 67 years old. Standing among the seated crowd. Singing with her eyes closed. Singing a song that makes Stevie Wonder begin to weep. The studio falls completely silent except for that voice. That impossible voice. That ghost of a voice. And Stevie Wonder whispers something that makes Oprah's blood run cold. Cassandra? How we get here? Rewind 109 minutes. The morning had begun with celebration. Today's show was a tribute to Stevie Wonder. 60 years of music. 25 Grammy Awards. Countless songs that had shaped generations. Superstition. Isn't she lovely? Signed, sealed, delivered. I just called to say I love you. The list went on forever. Oprah had planned a spectacular episode. Surprise guest. Musical performances. Stories from collaborators and friends. A celebration of one of the greatest musicians who ever lived. Stevie had arrived at the studio at 9 a.m. He was in good spirits, laughing with the production team, warming up on a grand piano they had brought onto the stage, playing snippets of songs that made everyone around him smile. He was, as always, joy embodied, but joy was about to collide with something else, something buried, something lost, something that was about to rise from a 41-year grave. Subscribe and leave a comment, because the most powerful part of this story is still ahead. The show began at 10:45 a.m. Oprah's introduction was electric. The audience's applause was thunderous. Stevie took his place at the piano and played a medley of his greatest hits. The crowd sang along. They danced in their seats. They felt the magic that only Stevie Wonder could create. For 45 minutes, everything went perfectly. Stories were shared. Legends were honored. Music filled the air. And then Oprah asked a question that would change everything. Stevie, she said, in 60 years of making music, is there a song you never released that you wish the world could hear? Stevie paused. His fingers rested on the keys. His face grew thoughtful. There's one, he said slowly. A song I wrote in 1983. For someone very special. Someone I loved very deeply. The audience leaned forward. But I never released it, Stevie continued, because she died before I could play it for her. And after that, I cannot bear to hear it. I locked it away. I have not sung it or played it since. Oprah reached out and touched his hand. Can you tell us about her? She asked gently. Stevie nodded. Her name was Cassandra Moore, he said. She was a singer, an incredible singer. We met in 1981 at a recording studio in Detroit. She was there to record backup vocals for another artist. But the moment I heard her voice, I knew she was something special. He smiled at the memory. We fell in love, he said. For 2 years, we were inseparable. She inspired some of my best work. She helped me see music in a new way. Even though I could not see her, I could hear her. And her voice was the most beautiful thing I had ever experienced. His smile faded. In 1983, she was in a car accident, he said. The doctors said she died instantly. I was on tour in Europe when I got the news. I flew home immediately, but I was too late. She was already gone. He touched the piano keys gently. I wrote a song for her, he said, the day after her funeral. I poured everything I felt into that music. All the love, all the grief, all the words I never got to say. It was supposed to be our song, the song I would play at our wedding. His voice cracked, but there was no wedding. There was only loss. And I could not bear to share that song with anyone. So I locked it away. And I have carried it in my heart ever since. The audience was silent. Oprah wiped her eyes. And then something happened that no one expected. A voice from somewhere in the darkness of the audience, singing the exact melody Stevie had just described. The song that had been locked away for 41 years. the song that only two people in the world knew, and one of them was supposed to be dead. Behind the scenes, Oprah made a decision that defied every producer's expectation. She did not stop the moment. She did not call for security. She did not try to understand what was happening before letting it unfold. Instead, she watched. She listened. She bore witness. Stevie Wonder sat frozen at the piano, his hands hovering over the keys, his face a mask of impossible emotions. He was hearing something that should not exist, a voice that should have been silenced 41 years ago, a song that no living person should know. And yet here it was, filling the studio, surrounding him, calling to him from across 4 decades of grief. "Cassandra?" He whispered again. The singing continued, but now it was moving, coming closer. The woman in row 8 was walking toward the stage, still singing, eyes still closed, moving by instinct, by memory, by love. She reached the edge of the stage. She climbed the 3 steps. She walked toward the piano, and she stopped directly in front of Stevie Wonder. This is the moment no one in the studio and no one watching at home ever saw coming. The woman finished the song. The last note hung in the air, faded, disappeared. Silence. Stevie reached out with trembling hands. He touched her face. His fingers traced her features, her forehead, her cheeks, her lips, and he began to sob. "It is you," he said. "It is really you. But how? They told me you died. They showed me the death certificate. They buried someone. I stood at that grave. I mourned you for 41 years. The woman, Cassandra, spoke for the first time. Her voice was older now, weathered by time, but still unmistakably hers. "They made a mistake," she said. "The accident was real. The injuries were real. But I did not die. I was in a coma for 8 months. And when I woke up, everything had changed." She took his hands. "My face was reconstructed," she said. "I had lost most of my memory. I did not know who I was for years. By the time I remembered you, by the time I remembered us, I searched for you. But you had moved on. You were famous. You were surrounded by people. And I was nobody, a ghost of who I used to be." She was crying now, too. "I thought you would not want me," she said. "I thought you had forgotten. I thought it was too late. So I stayed away. I built a small life for myself. I became a music teacher in a small town in Ohio. And I watched you from a distance. For 41 years, I watched you become everything you were meant to be." She touched his face. "But I never forgot the song," she said. "Our song. The song you never released. I remembered every note, every word, because you sang it to me once. One time, the night before my accident, and it stayed with me. Through the coma, through the amnesia, through everything. It was the thread that led me back to myself." Stevie pulled her into his arms. He held her like he was afraid she would disappear again. Like 41 years of grief were pouring out of him. Like the world had finally stopped spinning in the wrong direction. "Why now?" he whispered. "Why did you come now?" Cassandra pulled back slightly. "Because I am dying," she said. The words landed like stones. "Cancer," she continued. "Stage 4. The doctors have given me months, maybe less. And I realized I could not die without seeing you again, without hearing that song again, without telling you that I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day in 41 years. Stevie's face crumpled. "No," he said. "No, I just found you. I cannot lose you again." Cassandra touched his cheek. "You are not losing me," she said. "You are finding me. After all this time, after all these years of both of us grieving for something that never actually died. We found each other, and now we have a chance, however brief, to say the things we never got to say." She smiled through her tears. "Sing me the song, Stevie," she said. "The song you wrote for me. The song you have been carrying for 41 years. I want to hear it one more time, while I can still hear, while we are still together." Share and subscribe. Make sure this story is never forgotten. Stevie turned back to the piano. His hands were shaking, but they found the keys. Muscle memory, heart memory, soul memory. He began to play, a melody that had been locked in silence for 4 decades. A melody that Oprah had never heard, that the audience had never heard, that no one had heard except 2 people who loved each other across an impossible divide. And then Stevie began to sing. His voice cracked on the first words, but he pushed through. The lyrics were simple, honest, raw. They spoke of finding someone in the darkness, of hearing beauty in a world without sight, of love that transcended physical presence, of connection that went beyond touch. They spoke of loss feared but not yet experienced, of gratitude for every moment shared, of the terror of imagining life without this other soul. They spoke of faith, that love does not end with death, that some bonds cannot be broken, that in the end, every separation is temporary. And when he reached the chorus, Cassandra joined him, her voice blending with his. Two voices that had not sung together in 41 years, creating harmony that made 400 people weep. The song lasted 4 minutes and 37 seconds, but it contained an entire lifetime. When the final notes faded, the studio was completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. No one wanted to break the spell. Oprah stood beside the piano with tears streaming down her face. She had witnessed thousands of emotional moments, but nothing like this. Nothing that rewrote reality so completely. Nothing that resurrected what had been buried for so long. She finally spoke. "I do not know what to say," she said. "I do not think there are words for what we just witnessed." She looked at Stevie and Cassandra. "How do you feel right now?" Stevie laughed through his tears. "I feel like I am dreaming," he said. "Like I'm going to wake up any moment and she will be gone again. Like this is too beautiful to be real." He reached for Cassandra's hand. "But I can feel her hand in mine," he said. "I can hear her breathing. I can smell the perfume she used to wear. She is real. She is here. And for however long she is here, I'm not letting go." Cassandra smiled. 41 years, she said. 41 years of both of us thinking the other was lost. 41 years of carrying a love that had nowhere to go. And now here we are, on a television stage, in front of the whole world, picking up where we left off. She laughed softly. "It is not the ending I imagined," she said. "But maybe it is better. Maybe this is how it was supposed to be. All that time apart, just making us appreciate what we have now even more." Oprah leaned forward. "What happens next?" she asked. "What do you want the rest of your time together to look like?" Stevie answered immediately. "I want to marry her," he said. The audience gasped. Stevie turned toward Cassandra. "I know it sounds crazy," he said. "We just reunited. We have not seen each other in 41 years. But I have loved you every day since we met. I have carried you in my heart through every song I have written. You're the reason I believe and love it all. And I do not want to waste another moment." He reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small velvet box. "I have carried this with me for 41 years, he said. "I bought it the week before your accident. I was going to propose when I got back from tour, but I never got the chance." He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple, elegant, timeless, waiting for 41 years. "Marry me," Stevie said. "Not because we have time, not because it makes sense, but because we already belong to each other. We always have. And I want the world to know." Cassandra was sobbing now. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes. 1,000 times yes. I should have said yes 41 years ago. I will not waste another moment saying anything else." Stevie slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, like it had been waiting, like it had always known. The audience erupted, not in applause, in something beyond applause. A sound of collective joy, of witness, of celebration. For 100 people who had just seen love defeat time itself. The wedding happened 3 weeks later. Not a large ceremony, not a media spectacle, just Stevie and Cassandra, a few close friends, a minister, and Oprah, because Oprah had asked to be there, because she had witnessed the beginning, and she wanted to witness this continuation. They were married in a small chapel in Detroit, the same city where they had first met, the same city where they had fallen in love, the same city where everything had started. Stevie played the song at the ceremony, their song, the song that had been locked away for 41 years, the song that was finally being shared. But this time, when he finished, he made an announcement. "I am releasing this song," he said, "for the first time ever, because it is not just our story anymore. It is everyone's story, everyone who has loved and lost, everyone who has hoped against hope, everyone who believes that some things are worth waiting for. This song is for all of you. The song was released 1 week later. It was called 41 Years. It debuted at #1. It became the fastest-selling digital single in history. Not because of marketing, not because of promotion, but because everyone who heard it felt something. Something real, something true, something that reminded them that love does not follow rules. It just follows hearts. Cassandra lived for 7 months after the wedding, longer than the doctors predicted. She said it was because she finally had something to live for. She said the love was medicine. She said every day with Stevie was worth more than years without him. When she died, Stevie was holding her hand. He was singing to her, their song. The last sound she ever heard was his voice. The voice she had loved for 41 years. The voice that had never stopped calling to her. Even across the divide of what everyone thought was death, Stevie did not stop making music after Cassandra died. But his music changed. It became deeper, more reflective, more connected to something eternal. He spoke about her in every interview. He dedicated every concert to her memory. He became an advocate for people separated by circumstance, for lost loves, for found loves, for loves that wait. The Cassandra Moore Foundation was established in her honor. It provides support for people searching for lost loved ones. It has reunited over 12,000 people who thought they were permanently separated. 12,000 secondes chance. 12,000 songs waiting to be sung. Stevie still carries the ring she wore. He wears it on a chain around his neck, close to his heart, where she always was, where she always will be. He says he can still hear her voice sometimes, in quiet moments, in empty rooms, singing their song, waiting for him. Just like before, just like always. And he smiles when he hears it, because he knows now what he did not know before. She never really died. Not the part that mattered. Not the part that lived in music. Not the part that lived in love. That part is eternal. That part never stops singing. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss another story like this. Because there are more reunions waiting to happen. More songs waiting to be sung. More loves waiting to be found. And somewhere out there, someone is carrying a love they think is lost. Someone is mourning a connection they believe ended. Someone is living a half-life because the other half disappeared. Maybe it is not gone. Maybe it is waiting. Maybe 41 years is not too long. Maybe today is the day the song starts playing again. Listen for it. It might be closer than you think.